Hello, today I'm going to be showing you what LumenMill is and how it works. If you are using a PC or Mac to watch videos or play games while doing stationary exercise, LumenMill helps you to stay near your desired heart rate by making things harder to watch if your heart rate drops. Let's have a look. Here's the conveniently out of copyright movie we're going to be watching on YouTube as an example, but LumenMill will work with any media player, streaming service, game, etc., because LumenMill applies a mask to the whole display except for the taskbar. First, I'll start the application. I'm not going to walk you through the installation process because that simply involves buying LumenMill from the Windows Store or the Apple Store and installing it like any other program. It's $20 in the US and available worldwide at a similar price. First, we read the disclaimer carefully and select yes. Next, we go to the LumenMill preview window. This shows what will be superimposed on the display once it's activated. Everything is done by left-clicking on the window to bring up a menu, and we need to connect to a heart rate monitor, so we select Scan for Devices. And LumenMill will look for low-energy Bluetooth devices for the next 10 seconds. I'm wearing a polar heart rate monitor, so that should show up, perhaps with a few other random devices that are floating around. It will remember the last device you connected to, so next time it shouldn't take so long. I've selected the Polar H9, and once it's connected, LumenMill will begin displaying your heart rate in the top left-hand corner. I've had good luck with all of the chest-mounted heart rate monitors that I've tried. You just have to make sure you're either a little bit sweaty or moisten the pads on either side of the widget before you put it on. I find the wrist-mounted ones are a little bit flaky. For this demonstration, I'm going to set a target heart rate of 105 beats per minute, but you and your physician should determine what is a suitable target heart rate for you. So I'm going to set it that way, bring it up to 105, hit OK, and the default threshold is 5 beats per minute above and below the target, but those are both adjustable. There are lots of other settings, but we'll get onto those later. For now, we can activate LumenMill, and I like to do it with the 10-second delay option, which gives you time to switch to your video player or game or whatever. And maybe hit play and go full screen. And I'm way below the target, so we can see that the video is pretty much unwatchable. I'll start pedaling to get my heart rate up. The audio and visual noise will reduce as I get closer to the target, and they should disappear once I get to 100 beats per minute, which is the target of 105 minus the lower threshold of 5. So if I stay around here, I can keep watching my movie or playing my game or whatever. The video looks choppy because the video capture can't keep up, but it looks fine live. You can see that in the top right-hand corner, LumenMill is keeping track of how long I've been in the target range. It's also keeping track of how long I've been above and below the target range. It's pretty easy to display those as well if you like. It's up to you what data is shown in the heads-up display, where it's shown, what color and size and font gets used, etc. You can also configure what the filter looks like, what color, how aggressively it ramps up, and whether you want it to look noisy like the filter you've just seen, or a solid color. I'll pedal a little bit harder now to show you what the high rate filter looks like. If I go per minute, which is the target of 105, plus the default threshold of 5, we get a different filter and alarm. And we now have a red filter and an alarm tone. If I drop back below 110, the filter and sound would go away. You can change the sounds as well if you want, but that's a bit more complicated and a subject for a different video. When we've had enough, we can simply go back to the preview menu. select disable all, and now there's no text, there's no filter, everything's disabled. So you can see here we could have activated the filter and the text and the alarm all independently. And here's where we can change the filter properties. So for example, this is the high heart rate alert. You can edit the response, which is how quickly it kicks in, the color, and whether you want it to look noisy or not. You can set the text locations. For example, you could select the heart rate to be displayed in a different corner if you wanted. You can also edit the text style of the four corners or the center if you want to put any text there. You can edit the font, the size, or the color. You can also change the profile name and save it to load later on if you have different people with different preferences. So this should give you an idea of what LumenMill is, how it works, and there's more at lumenmill.com. And like I said, it's $20 in the US, but available worldwide for a similar cost.